This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to a sweltering, slightly warm Sabi Sands private game reserve in the beautiful South Africa. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Dangerous Dave, the dimpled dish, on camera, hiding under his big sun hat. Why, I have no idea. Remember, if you want to ask us any questions, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or just pop your questions into your YouTube stream. Now, my morning didn't go quite as I would have liked it. Everything I was looking for beetled off out of our traverse area, so I don't actually have a plan for this afternoon. I'm just going to bumble about and rely on my charm and good luck. Maybe I'll have some luck with some leopards. The lions, unfortunately, are still inside Toshwood, and I don't think they're going to be coming out. Apparently they caught a young hippo yesterday, or this morning, I'm not sure. I'll find out more details a little bit later. But we're going to head to the west. No one's really been checking the western sections for a while. Maybe Shidulu is around, because they didn't find her in the west this morning. The Hukumuri is far away, Tiani is far away, but James is sitting with some spotted creatures far north in the Maasai Mara. However, they're not a cat.
I'm also far away, actually. I'm very, very far away. I'm 1,500 miles away, here in the Maasai Mara. And you may be saying to yourself, why does he speak with such muted tones? Well, the answer is because there is a film company here at the Hyena Den of the North Clan, and they are filming. And were I to use my normal exuberant tones, I've no doubt I would completely ruin the documentary that they're making. Good afternoon. My name is James Henry. And on camera today, very nervous, we have got Bungay, because he is making his television debut this evening. Please do talk to us using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Now, and of course the YouTube chat stream, if you'd like to. YouTube chat stream, yes. Now, what we had here yesterday evening was very interesting. We were at the North Clan Den for a long time, and we had our TV rehearsal here. And that hyena there, it was either that one or its companion, that you and I followed during the course of the show yesterday. And then when we went off air, we thought we were sitting with the same hyena we'd been following. We had two at the den, exactly where that one is there. One of them walked off. We assumed it was the same one that had been there the whole time that had remained. Turns out it wasn't. Turns out there is a brand new, tiny little cub in the hole that hyena is sitting above. And it was so new that it could barely walk, and it was so new that it actually left quite a lot of moisture on the sand when she pulled it out. And I wondered if it wasn't actually very recently born, in other words, sort of a few hours old maybe, perhaps even less. So that's quite interesting. We had a wonderful time here last night, so we're going to sit and wait and see what happens here. We have not managed to find any further hyenas here at this den, as we didn't yesterday, but I am told by the inimitable hyena researchers of the University of... oh gosh, I've forgotten it. It's not Minnesota. Or Wisconsin. Is it Wisconsin? Oh, this is terrible. Someone will remind me shortly. Anyway, wonderful hyena researchers, and they tell me that Waffles was here, as was Anna, earlier today. So with any luck, we will see both of those. I'm going to stay a little bit away from that film vehicle for now, because I don't want to ruin their documentary by, like I say, shouting and holding forth, as it were, while they are trying to get soft cooings and squitterings. Michigan State, there we go, it's Michigan State University. Thank you, Umkar. Thank you very much. They do an absolutely fantastic job of hyena research here, and without them the North Clan hierarchy and its machinations would have been extremely, extremely difficult for us to unpack. It's an extremely long-running program that they've had here. And they've got a number of dedicated researchers who've been very good to us. So we're going to stay here and see if another hyena or two doesn't pop its head up out of this fairly interesting thicket. Now, I was thinking to myself, oh, hello. I wonder if she's looking with a sort of desire towards the film vehicle. Maybe they've got something tasty in there that they've just opened up to eat, or maybe there's something behind us. Apparently there were 2 male lions here this morning, 2 young male lions, I think the same males that we had yesterday evening. Versinize, you hurt my heart. You say, is this really live? Versinize, yes, it is live. No one is lying to you. No one is trying to pull the proverbial wool over your eyes. I know in these times of fake facts, fake news, and all sorts of fakeness around the world, it's very difficult to find any form of authenticity. But you have just stumbled upon some. You've just stumbled upon a live stream of authenticity taking place right now. Welcome to the safari. It's lovely to have you with us. And I'm going to dedicate the next 30 seconds of the safari purely to you. That must be about 30 seconds. Let's go back to the hyena. It's getting a little bit awkward. But yes, it is entirely live. From the Maasai Mara in Kenya, where I'm sitting now, at this beautiful Hyena Den, and of course the Western Kruger National Park of sunny, magical South Africa. Now I think this is the mother of the little one, but I could be wrong. There were 2 cubs in the den, one slightly older, about 8 weeks, and the other brand new. Now, if a lion was to come across this den, the adult would simply abandon it. They'll come back later. Oh, hang on a second. Let's just wait and see what happens here. I know that Kirsten, who's directing, has told me to go back to the real hyena whisperer, who's Jamie Patterson, but Jamie doesn't actually have anything at the moment. Kirsten, do you mind very much if we stay here just a few minutes? I know you'd rather hear Jamie's silky tones while she drives a car, but there might be something quite interesting going on here. I can't see anything behind us. That looks to me like a startled hyena, like she's seen or smelt a predator coming this way, and that could only mean a lion or a vast clan of invading hyenas, which would be exceptionally unusual. This is the natal or main den of the North Clan. Let's just watch her carefully and see where she goes. I'm still trying to figure out who this is. If anybody's got any idea, I'd love to know. Youngish female. Maritz, hyenas do live in clans, but they don't always forage together. For example, this clan is about 60 strong, and you will seldom see 60 hyenas together, unless they are hunting something very big or unless they are in a clan war. And we've certainly captured some footage. Jamie has been around them when they've had a big boxing match with the Happy Zebra clan, and then there were probably 30 members of the clan facing off 30 members of the Happy Zebras. But they do forage alone quite a lot. They obviously stay at the den alone from time to time. I would expect the matriarch to come back and feed her cubs here at some stage, so we're going to hang around. But in South Africa, where the real hyena whisperer is, you will definitely find that the hyenas do a lot more single or solitary foraging than they do here even. That's because the clans are that much smaller. She did this quite a lot yesterday, walking away from the den and then coming back if it's the same one. She is quite young. I don't think she's more than 3. I don't know where that puts her in the hierarchy of the North Clan, but I'm going to go with mid-ranked. Somewhere mid-ranked. Going straight back to the den. Smelt something, I think. Maybe some lions way in the distance. I definitely don't see any other hyenas here. Alright, apparently we have had enough of this actual hyena, and we're going to go now across to the hyena whisperer.
Hello, and a very good afternoon. My name is Jamie, the Hyena Whisperer, and this afternoon is Senzo on camera with me. It is my great pleasure to have his company once again. We did so much whispering to the hyenas this morning that we had the most magical sighting of the Djuma clan here on Djuma, and we even had a hyena grooming himself right next to the vehicle. It was beautiful. Was truly a display of a hyena spinal flexibility. Remember, you can get hold of us on #SafariLive on Twitter. Alternatively, you can contact us on the YouTube comments section. I have to tell you a funny story about this whole hyena thing. People in the Mara keep sending me pictures of hyenas and going, who is this? Not all people, not just random people off the street, but, wild earth people. But they'll send me a picture of just perfect ears, or the briefest flash of this portion, the front portion of the shoulder. Who is this? I don't know. I can't tell from that. There's 80 plus members of the clan. Some of them have very similar spots on their one portion of the shoulder. Anyway, enough about hyenas for now, because it's far too hot for me to go to the Hyena Den on Djuma. I've got a distinctly concerned feeling that tonight for the SABC show there are going to be no shows, but we'll wait and see. I'm going to try and help Brent out in the meantime. We tracked Tingana off Djuma this morning, so now we're looking for... tracked Tundi off this morning, we're now looking for Tingana. He's got to be here somewhere, I assume. We haven't heard him calling, and we haven't seen him with Hosanna, which makes me think he's on his own kill, somewhere around here. So that's my thinking. So I'm going to try and give Brent a hand, for he is so utterly despondent about his prospects for today. I know that feeling. That he can use his charm and exceedingly nice personality. Goo, a very good afternoon to Goo. Goo, I'm sorry, I have imagined something. Nope, I have imagined it. Goo would like to know if I know the long-term purpose of the Mara Hyena project. There isn't actually one, so there's no specific end goal. It's a constant learning about the hyenas over multiple generations and a very extended period of time. Longest predator project, I think, in Africa, if not the world. It's a very, very long-running predator project. So there's no set goal. There are multiple students at any one point in time doing multiple or research into multiple aspects of hyenas' lives. So whether it's their problem solving or their hormone levels or their stress levels, hormone levels, stress levels, same sort of difference, their social dynamics, their evolution, whether or not hyenas in close proximity to humans have a different behavioral set than hyenas that are further away and have no interaction with humans apart from the odd safari vehicle. So there's lots of different projects that they carry out there, and all of them for different reasons, but all equally important, because obviously the more you understand about hyenas, the more we can conserve them. And at the same time, it's not just about that, it's also learning about ourselves as well. There's a lot of parallels between hyena social dynamics and primate social dynamics. So it's really, except that in the case of hyenas, they're the apex predator, kind of like humans, although one of the apex predators. So there's lots of different reasons why those studies are being carried out. They are truly intriguing. I think it would be a very good idea if you wanted to go and have a look at some of their blog posts. I mean, I'm not being paid to punt them, so I can. They've helped us out immensely. If you want to go look at their blog posts, or if you want to go and have a look at some of the research papers, Dr. Holkamp is the foremost expert on hyenas, or one of the foremost experts on hyenas. Fascinating stuff. We've learned a vast amount just in the past few years about hyena behavior that's turned our understanding of them on its head. Alrighty, I'm searching for, well, I think I'm searching for Tingana. I don't really know why I think that I am. Let's go across to Sydney, who at least knows exactly what he's searching for.
A very, very good afternoon and welcome to the beginning of the show. I am Sydney Pumunani Mikosi and I'm traveling with Sebastian, who is my camera operator this afternoon. Our plan is quite very easy. We are looking for the spotted cat, specifically Hosanna. And for in case if you need our attention, you can follow us on Twitter, #Safari Live. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. The sun is very hot at the moment, so this cat is no longer in the drainage. We left him here this morning, so I'm just now trying to check around this drainage line to see if we can find him here. Maybe he is somewhere under these bushes here. So I am on a very difficult... So now let's go to James, who is already having a hyena.
Well, we're still here trying to identify this hyena, and I think I've got slightly closer to figuring it out. I think we're looking at one of a few, obviously. Anatolian, quite possibly. Perhaps Elsie. Just looking at the spots there. I'm looking at photographs now. Elsie, or I had another theory, and my theory was that that hyena is flawless. No, the picture on that side is wrong. Oh, is it? It's so difficult to tell. Might be flawless. No, flawless is a male. It's definitely not flawless. That's pathetic. I'm dreadful at this, everyone. I'll get better, I promise. I'll do my level best to get better. Jamie says Anna has a horseshoe on her bottom. That's very kind. Thank you, Jamie. Now, if the great hyena whisperer could perhaps prevail upon the hyena to show us its bottom, that would be extremely helpful. Yeah. I'm afraid my capabilities do not extend to figuring this one out. We've sent Jamie a picture, maybe she'll be able to figure it out. I don't think that hyena is older than 4, which should give us an idea. I mean, I'm looking at these identikits, but my gosh, it's all just kind of blaring into one for somebody of my poor recognition techniques and skills. Barely recognize myself in the mirror, let alone the individuals in a clan of 60 hyenas. Yes, Kathy, I think you'll find that striped hyena habits are very different from spotted hyena habits. Spotted hyenas are unique in the hyena family, which of course is a family all on its own, and that is because they are the only ones that have this kind of matriarchal society where the females dominate the males and where they live in clans. Now, as far as I'm aware, striped hyenas, much like brown hyenas, live solitary lives. I will just check that up for you, but I'm pretty sure they live solitary lives, much drier areas than this. And you'll find that the drier the area, the more solitary the animals tend to be, unless of course you happen to be a sociable weaver, in which case you live in a great big friendly party group. But let me just check for you. I'm pretty sure that what I've told you is accurate, but I would hate to tell you a lie, especially on Sundays. Lying on Sundays is just no good. Striped hyena, tall and slender, yes. Crest runs from tail to tail, scrub, dry savannas, open habitats, robotics, calm, and behavior depends on whether or not spotted hyena is present. Where the two species coexist, striped is quieter, more retiring, and perhaps more solitary and cryptic, but yes, they are solitary. Interestingly, a big striped hyena can weigh pretty much the same as a smallish spotted hyena. Very cool. I'm just reading. No, that's a spotted hyena. We knew about that. So all the others are almost entirely solitary. Puma, you've made a very hilarious joke that goes as follows. This hyena's name is Ina. When you see her, you must say, "Hi, Ina." Very good. That's not a hyena in the background, that is a tippleskirchie. Let me return to my identikit now that she's stood up. Hello, tippleskirch. I wish that tippleskirch would try and find us some further hyenas, because I need some further hyenas for the television show this evening. One hyena is not going to do, unless she brings out her baby. Then she'll do just nicely. I'm hoping quite desperately that the film crew in front of us is not enabled with night vision like we are, and will therefore have to vacate the area relatively soon. I've lost my identikit. Where is it? Come on now. Mara characters, hyenas, yes, no hyenas, North Clan, there we are. Alright, so let's just look on the side there. She's got a bit of a stripe going down, a sort of obvious dotting, if you like, down the side, with one big blob above it. I'm sure none of you know what on earth I'm talking about. Could that be That's not Anatolian. It's not Anna, I don't think. Of course, this thing is arranged such that you have to scroll through everything. You can't scroll through just the adults and just the females. Still looks most like Flawless, but of course Flawless is a male. And that ain't no male. That one's got a baby. I suppose those two very pronounced dots there on the shoulder are quite distinctive. Let's try and see if I can find those. Yeah, there we go. It is Anna. It's definitely Anatolian. She's the only one with those two very pronounced dots. Hooray! We've got her. Okay, so she's older than 3 years. She's actually 6. I'm pretty sure that that's who we're looking at. Those two distinct dots there are pretty obvious. Good. Okay. We've got Anatolian. She's got a new youngster. Don't know where she fits in the hierarchy. We'll figure it out now. Let's go to Leo Smith, who is looking, I think, for something using his charm and good looks.
James. Yes, we are looking. I think what we're going to do is Sydney's going to check the last position of Hasana. If he has no luck, then I'll go try to give him a hand in that area. Maybe go for a little walkie. So I think Hasana's going to be quite fat somewhere. And the other problem is that he's not likely to go towards Gallagher Pan or the Vuyatela Pan, because after that little rain, and especially in those little drainage systems, there's a few secret spots where there's some rocks that might still be holding a bit of water, so he doesn't have to move too far. Now, speaking of Hyenas, I noticed on, I think it might have been Twitter or Facebook or one of those thingy-mabobs, that there was a lot of discussion that Hyenas might be ill from eating these Inyala. He is not ill. He is just very fat and very lazy. The tannins in the stomach of the animals he's eating is not going to affect him. He's got a completely different digestive system. So please don't worry. Hyenas is not sick. He is fine. I understand you guys worry, but in this circumstance there is no need. Okay. Tingana, though Jamie's going to have a look for her, we'll also give it a go. He's been away for a while, and I think Tingana is probably sitting on a dead Inyala somewhere as well. And then also, just on that whole note about the dead Inyala, I noticed someone said, oh, but even the hyenas aren't eating them, and that's why Hyenas might be sick. It is not. The hyenas didn't go there. It's because I found 4 separate hyena drag marks of dead Inyala today alone on bushwalk, and I only covered the area around the Moati River, and that means there's probably a whole bunch more up on these little river systems, the Gari Katlan, the one off Buffelshoek Dam, the one off Gwari Pan. So the hyenas are just full. That's why they didn't eat all of that Inyala where Hyenas was. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, hello, Coral. Oh, jumping Coral. He's going to pop his head around the corner? Or is he dashed up and away? He's dashed up and away. Now, I've actually found Tingana in this tree before on a hot day in the summer months, just lazing on the branch of this giant jackalberry. Alas, he is not there today. So, let's carry on. Hello, Dee, who's a new viewer. Welcome. Dee would like to know, where in Africa are we? Well, we are in the southernmost country in Africa, South Africa. We are in the easternmost province of said country, well, the northeastern province, which is called Mpumalanga, which means, Mpuma means to come out, Langa means sun, so east, where the sun rises. We are then inside the Greater Kruger National Park, which is 2.7 million hectares of unfenced wilderness wonderland. And then we go smaller, we are within the 60,000 hectares of the Sabi Sand Private Game Reserve, which is open to Kruger, there's no fences. And then we go even smaller, we are currently on Djuma Private Game Reserve in the northwestern corner of the said Sabi Sand Game Reserve. So that is exactly where we are in Africa, and if you want to go even more minuscule, I am on a road called Gari Katlan, which runs north from Central Road, and I am looking for leopards. And Dave is giggling behind me. Doesn't take much to amuse Dave, though. Well, I'm not sure what Jamie's found. I think, did you hear that? But anyway, let's go find out.
Found hyenas, which is a really nice surprise, and when I say I found hyenas, I actually had absolutely nothing to do with it. This one is entirely on eagle-eyed Senzo, who has really got his spotting eyes on this afternoon. What is wrong with me? It's this afternoon. Oh, who have we got here? Does that look like Corky at the back? I think it might just be. Oh, no. It is not. It is pretty by the looks of things. So what are we doing here, my girls? Now, we often get asked where hyenas go during the day, And the answer is to places just like this, a nice big shady area, especially around drainage lines, which are dried up riverbeds. And they'll go and they'll spend the day here and then at night return to the den site. But that looks like Tsaka there. It is. Tsaka and Pretty, spending their afternoon curled up in the shade. How very interesting. Well, that's good news for us if perchance the hyenas decide not to go to the den site before the end of the TV show tonight. At least we've got some hyenas. Well done, Senzo. You would not believe the spot he pulled off. Now, there is another possible reason for them to be curled up here underneath a guarri bush, and that is that there could potentially be a leopard with a kill somewhere here. Now, for two hyenas against Tingana, they probably would have taken his kill from him if it were on the ground. So either they're not here because of a kill, or if they are here because of a kill, it's in a tree. And I've been checking out the big trees around the area. I probably won't stay with these two for that long because they're going to be flat for now. But we can always come back here a little bit later. But there's nothing in this tree, sadly, most unfortunately. But it does remind me, because of where we are, of the time that poor little Hosana had such a bad limp. And it was when Shongile knocked him off the tree he was trying to climb. And he was having such a bad day, and then he got caught unawares by a hyena and had to go running up the closest tree, which happened to be a thorn tree. And when he tried to get down after the hyena was gone, it was just pulling out tufts of his fur, left, right, and center. It was when he was about a year old or so. I found him sleeping in a rhino midden. So they obviously like this patch. This was where I suspected Corky was hiding. Look how she's cooling herself down. That's so cool. Spraying dirt over her belly. Rosalind, do you want to know if hyenas are smarter than chimps? It's difficult to really... I'm fine, thanks. Sorry, I just choked over my own saliva. It's difficult to really compare intelligence. They're certainly smarter than someone who chokes on her own spit, but to compare them to chimps would be, it's a difficult one. They have done cognition studies, and they are very, very close to chimps in terms of the way that we define intelligence. Where they actually beat chimps is in a study that was done with a puzzle. So two chimpanzees were given a test. There was a piece of meat on a ledge that they couldn't reach, and to get it, or to get it out of a box, or whatever the test happened to be, it doesn't really matter, they had to pull two ropes in opposite directions. So the chimps figured it out marginally faster than the hyenas, and the hyenas got it pretty quickly and grabbed the meat. Then what they did was they took one individual that knew the puzzle out and put an individual in who didn't know the puzzle, who'd never seen the puzzle before. And within split seconds, the hyenas had communicated to each other what needed to be done, and the box or the puzzle was opened, and they had the food. They actually did that faster than chimpanzees. So in terms of their social relationship with each other, they are actually slightly more intelligent in the way that, in that sort of puzzle scenario. So they've been given all sorts of puzzles to figure out, boxes that only unlock a certain way. I watched a documentary on a very low-ranked male who was given a puzzle, and he knew how to figure it out, and he worked it out, and he was given plenty of time to do so, and then he was taken away, and then he was put back into that situation, but with the rest of the clan, and he completely feigned ignorance. While they all sort of looked around at this box and then eventually lost interest and ignored it, he pretended he didn't know what was going on. And then as soon as the high-ranked individuals lost interest and moved away, then he went and unlocked the box and got his piece of meat. He's not stupid. He knows. If he'd unlocked it before that, he never would have got the prize. So hyenas are smart creatures. There's a vast amount going on behind those eyes. One of the reasons why I enjoy them as much as I do. That and they're hilarious. You think it's a mating pair? If it's a mating pair, then we would have big trouble. Then we would have big trouble because it would mean that Pretty's cubs were not terribly well. So no, I think we're okay there, but I think they're friends. And actually, Sens is not far off. He said, "Do you know this could be a mating pair?" And I said, "No." But actually, he's not far off, because males will befriend females with cubs and be very nice to the cubs, be very gentle, in the hope that the female actually befriends him and remembers that when it comes time to mate. Now, Caroline's wondering about whether or not hyenas will mate like lions and leopards, and whether it goes on for days. The estrus cycle does last for a few days, but it's not nearly as frequent as the matings of lions and leopards. It's also a very different situation. So, as you know, the male lion or the male leopard has a barbed penis, and it causes a lot of pain to the female. She gets very aggressive. It happens every couple of minutes, even though it's... Shh. I'm talking. It's scandalized. Scandalized at the talk of all of this making of new baby animals. Right, are you done now? Can I finish speaking? Yes, no? Thank you. So the mating doesn't go on for or at least it doesn't go on as regularly for days as it does with the lions or the leopards, and it lasts for a lot longer. So the mating sessions of leopards or lions go on for 30 seconds, give or take. I mean, it never really extends much beyond that, for which I imagine the female is exceedingly thankful, because I don't think there's any kind of... I think it's a thoroughly unenjoyable experience for her. But for hyenas, it actually goes on for quite a long time, and they end up similar to mating dogs, with a sort of a tie together. So even when they finish the actual copulation process, the male then dismounts, and they remain joined together for a period of time. So no, not quite like lions and leopards. Of course, the male also has to do some romancing. It's not like a female leopard that goes and throws herself bottom first at the male. In the case of hyenas, the male really has to put in some serious time and effort. He's got to dance around the female. He does a lot of bowing, a lot of playing, a lot of running around and making a fool of himself, acting a clown. And the female eventually decides whether or not she can actually be bothered with him. And that's why friendships work. They work so well in hyena society. It's something similar to baboons. Male baboons will have partners that they make friends with. Well, as thoroughly entertaining as our two hyenas are being right here and right now, let's go see what Jameses are up to in the Maasai Mara, where apparently one has found something to snack on.
Well, this hyena is also being very entertaining. This is Anatolian, as we've recently discovered. She's just left the den and she's eating a lobster. Oh, no, it's not a lobster. It looks like a stick. No? It's definitely not a stick. I think it is it's a piece of wildebeest, but I cannot tell which piece it is. Don't know. It does look like a mane, but it doesn't look like the neck. So difficult to say which one or which bit. Right, I'm observing also the approach of the Michigan State University hyena researchers. So with any luck we'll have a bit more information for you at some stage. So she's walked or run about a quarter of a mile from the den. She was obviously feeling a bit peckish, needed some Sunday tea, and she's found herself a long, rotten piece of wildebeest to eat. I would like to be having scones and strawberry jam and tea right now, but I'm not. I am going to watch the hyena have a rotting piece of wildebeest for its tea. Then I suspect she will return to the den. Must be a bit of neck, surely, because that definitely does look like a bit of mane. Now, I don't know where any of the others are, but what I will tell you is that this is very interesting, because as I have banged on for ages I've said to you that there is a huge amount of dead stuff out here that just rots into the ground, that doesn't get eaten. It is scavenged from time to time. And that is quite possibly what you're seeing here. All amongst this grassland, there are bits of dead flesh that is either going to rot into the ground or be picked up by scavengers. Most of it will rot. And that is one of the key things that our ancient hominid ancestors found. It's one of the key things that brought them onto these plains in the first place, was this underutilized sort of resource of food that they could go and scavenge. So far from being hunters, I say we, but I mean, of course, it wasn't even the same species back then. Our ancestors were scavengers. And they were scavenging much like this hyena, but probably using tools rather than teeth. Safari Heart, you asked a question that has entirely slipped my mind, and I'm going to ask for it again. We have it again? Is that possible? Oh, we ever seen a hyena eating grass? I was actually thinking about that yesterday after watching Hosanna spend most of his day behaving like a wildebeest. I don't think I have seen a hyena eating grass. I suspect in this area you'd have to be with them quite a lot to see it, because it would happen so quickly. They live in green grass, and so they'd probably just have a few chomps almost without your noticing it. But at Djuma, it would be much like watching the leopards. They'd come across a nice long tuft with leaves that were sort of green and of their choosing, the kind of things that dogs and cats, when they eat grass, choose. And I can't recall ever seeing a hyena making such a selection and then having a bite to eat of that grass. So I'm going to say no, Safari Heart. I don't think they do eat as much as the leopards or the lions do. I wonder if it isn't because they have fewer parasites, possibly because their digestive systems are that much more acidic, that much more powerful. But I'm really not sure. Interesting that Hosanna is spending quite so much time eating grass. He's obviously not feeling very comfy in the belly. No, very few animals can get ill from eating rotten meat out here, Paula, and it's, they've all evolved to utilize this resource. And so no, I don't think so. Look, I don't know what would happen if a wild dog ate rotten meat. They don't eat rotten meat normally. In fact, I've never seen one eating rotten meat. I've only ever seen them eating fresh kills. Likewise, cheetah. I'm not sure that cheetah wouldn't scavenge if it could. But 99% of the time I've ever seen, in fact 100% of the time I've seen them eating, they've been eating fresh meat. I'm sure there are records of them scavenging, and I'm sure there are records of wild dogs scavenging, but I've never seen it. And I wonder if, because their strategy of feeding is that they eat fresh meat, they may not be adapted to eating rotten stuff like this. And I think that if you look at our examples of ourselves as human beings, we have a fairly limited, or the food that we eat has to be in a certain condition before we can consume it, or it will make us ill. And that's because, with our lives as they are, we've adapted to eating cooked food most of the time. We've adapted to eating food that is not rotten. Because if we eat rotting meat, we can get very ill. To a certain extent. I mean, the lazy aged steak is about 40 days, is it that old? Can't be 40 days old, surely. Let's give it some flavor, for sure. Well, this is the only hyena that I can see for miles, and I can see for miles. Chandra, you are asking a question for your 6-year-old, and your 6-year-old is obviously interested if hyenas can be pets. Chandra, how do we answer that? So basically, can they be domesticated? Can they be, if you raise them from little, will they tame? And the answer is, to a certain extent. There are parts of the world, in Ethiopia and Nigeria, 2 examples, where hyenas have become completely habituated to human beings on foot. I'm not sure that they would ever tame like a dog. If you tried to tame them over generations, like we did with wolves at one stage, then maybe they might. But not an adult like this, no. An adult like this would remain very afraid of human beings. And if cornered, very dangerous to human beings. A hyena is a ferocious predator. They are phenomenal creatures. And they don't have quite the fashion sense of the lions or leopards or cheetahs or wild dogs. But they really are like I suppose they're a little bit like a mafia organization that runs a city under kind of beneath the radar. They shape this environment hugely with their activities. I think that we have spotted a wartpig. Well spotted, Bungay. Wartpig and a baby wartpig. And the hyena, of course, has not seen the wartpig. Now, I've always been amazed at how animals live in this grass. And I'm not sure if I said this on air or off air yesterday, but I think the length of the grass in this area profoundly alters the behavior of the animals here. And I think if you were to take these animals and stick them in a place like Djuma, they would almost be confused about what to do because of the difference in the grass. None of them, even the lions in the high season, can see over the top of the grass. Now you can imagine how impossibly frightening that must be for a wartpig. While you think of walking through the grass, unable to see, unable to know if you're going to stumble upon a lion or not, go across to Sydney, who's got a leopard, a tortoise.
Instead of finding Hosanna, I found another leopard. Look at that. This is a leopard tortoise. So you can see that the leopard tortoise is very hot. It's trying to go underneath the branch. I just saw the movement of the branch coming up. So this tortoise must be feeling some heat at the moment. And the grass, I can see they're not that very green, but probably might have been grazing somewhere here because the green is starting to come out. You can see there where he's coming from. He was eating the grasses somewhere there. So now he's just looking for some shade to hide a little bit. So this is the leopard tortoise. And leopard tortoise are so very much proactive, like any other tortoise. During the dry season, before the dry season, they go and collect quite a lot of water in order to supply themselves when it's too dry. And you will see, if you pick the tortoise up during the dry season, he's just going to urinate very slimy water. That water is there in order to save him during that season. You are not allowed to pick them up. If you pick them up, you will be jeopardizing their life. Just leave them. If he's too slow to cross the road, take your time, wait for him to pass. Don't try and help him because you will then be causing him a lot of harm. He won't feel anything, but if it's too dry for a long period, he won't have water to survive. So you can see now that he is hiding under the dry branch, and it's very much camouflaged. It's not very easy for their predators to see them when he's hiding like that. Northern land, the rains, they are supposed to begin already by now because we are heading towards the mid-October, and mid-October normally is when the animals are starting to give birth. But now it means the rain is late to come, which might cause quite a lot of mortalities on animals as well as their young, because now I can promise you it's very hot, but I'm very excited because the areas that have been now, it rained a little bit last week, but grasses are starting to get excited and there's some green grass coming out. The problem is, one, when the green grass is starting to come back after being stimulated by the rains or the fires, you will see animals concentrating by the small patch, and that gives grasses quite a lot of pressure to recover.
Bull species, a family of hornbills, ground hornbills, just north of
Vicky, I haven't seen the hinged tortoise at the moment, but by the tent, the day I was doing some presentation from the tent, I saw that there is an old tortoise shell from a hinged tortoise, showing that there is a hinged tortoise in the area. For now, I am only knowing the leopard tortoise as well as the hinged tortoise. So the hinged tortoise is that one, the body is flat and it's not big as the leopard tortoise, which is more round and grow big. Tortoises are one of those animals which can be able to survive for quite a long period. Them and the crocodiles can survive 150 years and more. So once they've got the shell, they can survive much longer, although they do have some of the predators such as the ground hornbills. But for now, let's cross over to my other colleague who is also having something very interesting for you by the Kenya in Maasai Mara at the moment.
Yes, we have got a bird. We haven't moved. Our hyena is still eating its disgusting meal. And so we're looking at a female black-bellied bustard. As far as I can work out, I think that's what it is. The females are a little bit difficult to distinguish. Excuse me, I had a small yawn there. The reason I told you was that I know Kirsten was going to mention it in my ear. And now she can't. Right, so black-bellied bustard. I'm just quickly going to check because you do get the white-bellied bustard here as well. Black-bellied bustard. Yes, that is a female black-bellied bustard. I'm just looking at the females, all look very similar. No, let's go with black-bellied. I have seen a male around here. Sharon, I don't think the females make the call. I think only the males make that champagne cork popping call. I'm just going to be quiet for 20 seconds. There's quite a nice kind of sound of crickets all around us. Now for me, that is whooping or grunting. Ultimate cliche of the cry of the fish eagle, the sound of Africa, but for me it's that. It's lying in my bed at night in the bush and listening to the crickets and the smell of dew on the grass. It makes me think, yeah, I'm in the wild now. So we'll pop back to the den at some stage. The hyena researchers have just told me that there are 2 other cubs there now. So we'll pop back, but there are not that many of them. Did we have the doubler on? We did a doubler mistake then. Okay, there we go. Now you don't have to look all the way into my brain through my eyes. Good. Okay. Let's have one last look here at our hyena friend. And then maybe we'll go... You know what? I don't think we are going to go back. I think I'm going to wait here with her. And I believe that Sidders has now dispensed with the tortoise part of his sighting.
So the tortoise was just bringing us a lot of luck, as now I managed to get hold of the little chief, Hosanna. I can see that he is somewhere high up there. I'm just going to drive up a little bit so that you can have a better sighting at the moment. So Hosanna is just right here with me. After a very long search, he was going in the middle of the drainage because it's too hot at the moment here where we are. So I can see that he is right here, and he is now on his way probably to the Galago pen, as he is not very far. Considering the distance, I can say he's just less than 500 meters to the Galago pen. So I'm just going to make a turn here so that we can have a good sighting. To track leopard is not easy because these animals, they can be able to conceal very easily and use the thick bushes. So here now he has been walking by the inaccessible areas. It was never easy to do trekking now. We saw the tracks at the beginning heading towards this direction, but we just lost where he was going. Then we judged that he's heading to the waterhole. We were just checking everywhere. Now, this area where we are trying this area for the second time because we were worried that the tracks got disappeared in the same area. So we do check where he has gone past, but it's not easy because these are the animals who normally walk and hunt at the same time. Tracks just got disappeared anyway. So he will be coming out here in few minutes. So it's just that at the moment he's taking his time. So you can see there he is not worried. He's trying to listen because the birds are making some noise, and they're not making noise because of his presence. That one I can guarantee you. None of these birds spotted him yet. Maybe there is some other animals, because most of the birds I'm hearing are ground dwellers who are nesting on the ground. Maybe other prey animals are walking towards their nest and they are being vocal because of that. So I can see that this cat is just going underneath the shade at the moment. So he might have some water and rest somewhere by the Galago pen. And thank you very, very much for all the comments about finding the little chief. So he's trying to sniff and investigate things there, and now he is going to defecate there. So a few months ago, I was lucky to see the hyenas eating the droppings of Tingana when it was still very warm. A few seconds after he defecated, the hyena started eating and finished everything. He even ate. So that is a big sign that in the bush, nothing is wasted. Everything is recycled. Whether droppings, wood, grasses, everything is just recycled. So you can see that the stomach is not looking big anymore. So he lost weight a little bit from the stomach compared to last night. Now, if anything come forward, I can promise you he's going to be able to dive pounds and catch something. So before he get disappeared, I am going to keep following and see if we can improve this sighting. So now, while I'm following the little chief, let's cross over to Jamie and see what it is following at the moment. You can see that these dongas are very steep-sided.
I'm following the road. I'm so confused. So well done to Sydney for finding the little chief. That is a very good start. I'm going towards Buffelshoek Dam in the hope that this nice warm weather, 30, what was it again? 30 something degrees, 80 something degrees, somewhere around there. 31, thank you, which was what, 87 degrees Fahrenheit. That was marvelous. Well done. We got there eventually. I have not found any sign of a kill around those hyenas, so I think they were just there sleeping. They've got to sleep somewhere. during the day. So we're just going to do a quick search of Bubblesook Dam. I don't know where Tingana's gone. I mean, he really was just a shot in the dark, so to speak. Fortunately not in the dark, because it's a lot more difficult to find things in the dark. So we're going to do one check of Bubblesook Dam. Hopefully the elephants are coming to have a drink there. It's nice and hot. They might even want a bit of a swim. And then we'll make our way back towards the Hyena Den for the drawing in of the evening. And we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed. I hope everyone out there is doing all their good luck superstitions. Collins, you would like to know why the wheel is on the right side of the car. Because we are in the southern hemisphere, everything gets switched upside down. So we're basically a mirror image of the northern hemisphere. You know, when something's mirrored, the right's on the left and the left's on the right. No, we drive on the left in South Africa. That is why the steering wheel is on the right. So we drive on the left-hand side of the road, whereas most other countries drive on the right-hand side of the road. So we're on the left, as is of course the UK. Fortunately, because otherwise I would have had a terrible time driving there. I would have got very confused about which way and who had the right of way and passing on the left. That sounds horrendous. Not that we don't do that in South Africa anyway. We shouldn't, but it doesn't mean we don't. So that's the reason that the steering wheel is on the right. And of course then I'd have to relearn everything. The gear stick would be over here and I would be all confused and it would just be a disaster. One thing I've noticed with people who come out here and learn to drive these vehicles is they tend to drive with their left wheel just off the road, and they get exponentially more flat tires than we do. There's an Impala for everybody. Fortunately perfectly centered, neither left nor right-handed, sided, something. I'm just thinking about my conversation about flipped hemispheres and thinking about Kenya. That's why the steering wheel would have to be in the middle of the car. Otherwise it'd be terribly confusing, being that close to the equator. We're now starting to look very carefully for any signs of females who are straining. That is not, of course, a female. That is a male impala. The difference being, for our new viewers, it has horns. So that's not an automatic giveaway. With male and female antelope, there are some species where the females do have horns. Thompson's gazelle, for example, in the Mara, although the female's horns are truly pathetic, but they do have horns. But the impala, only the males have horns. Alrighty, well, as intriguing as that conversation was, let's go across to the little chief. As Sydney predicted, he's quenching his thirst.
We have got Hosana, who has just arrived now by the Galago Pen, and I'm sure he's going to have a very long drink, considering the fact that Hosana has not been to any of the waterhole yesterday and the day before. I've been following Hosana for a couple of days now. The last time he had some water, it was by the small potholes where the water was just stuck there after the rains. So now at least he's having some fresh water. So you can hear that the territorial squirrel is now starting to be vocal because him and these spotted cats don't get along. So that one I can promise you is about the leopard. Yes, I understand these kind of animals, they do make calls against the other small predators, but they do make quite a lot of warning calls when it comes to these leopards. You will hear the other birds joining and the other bucks as well joining the chorus. So the mobbing behavior is normal in this area. He is quite very much thirsty indeed, as I indicated. I was very much surprised as well, seeing that he is not visiting any of the waterholes since he got those two dead nyalas by the drainage line. So he didn't want to move there. Maybe why he did not move there is because he did not manage to take any of those carcasses up into the nearest tree, which made him to be protective and stay on the ground. So normally this cat comes here by the Galago pen during the sunset. So you can see that indeed he has been very much thirsty. And as he was eating the grass this morning, maybe that also made him very worse. It made him to be very thirsty. So it is good sometimes to be a leopard, because coming to the waterhole, the competition is minimal. You don't have to worry about any other species. So you're just by yourself. So he is enjoying his status of becoming the little chief here in Djuma. James, this is not a natural water. Indeed, it's a man-made dam. So every time the water is pumped, and at the moment I can see that the water is coming in from the side. You can see there. So this is quite very much fresh water for these animals. So something people must have to realize is that when managing a natural system and put a fence around an area, we got to take a full accountability when it's dry season, because it's not fair for the animals to stay in, and when there's drought we don't provide water, because under a normal circumstance, animals, when there's a shortage of water, shortage of food, they will be doing what is called a migration, what we have been seeing by the Maasai Mara happening, because that is much more natural and they are not like fenced in. So whereby they cannot make it in terms of migration, I think it's fair enough to provide them with water. So now let's go to the Maasai Mara, where James is having some hyenas at the moment. So Hosanna and the hyenas, they...
Well, here we are still with Anatolia. She is about to walk behind the car. I'm just going to move quickly. And I'll show you where she is in relation to the den. Basically, the den is behind that large flat-topped balanites tree there, and I think she's probably going to go back there, bring her cubs out, and they'll play for us all night long. That's definitely what's going to happen. She had a bit of mud to drink from literally a hole of mud. She then made a burp that went as follows: bleh. And now she seems to be going back towards her den. Kathy, I think that you might find that their ears are less tattered here because they don't live in thorny bush. I think their ears probably get a bit tattered from the thorny bush there in South Africa. I wonder also if they don't have more scraps with lions there. Because they steal a lot more, I think, in South Africa than they do here. I wonder if that isn't one of the reasons. But you do see some very tatty-eared hyenas here, that said. This one has particularly pretty ears. Alright, let's follow Anatolia back to her home. One or two taupai around the place. No, I still can't see the horseshoe on her bottom. Can anyone else? Kirsten, were you saying you can see it? Let me get a bit closer and we'll see if we can find a horseshoe on her bottom. Horseshoe on the right side of her bottom. Well, zoom quickly, Bungai. Let's see if there's a horseshoe on the right side of her bottom. Oh, there is. There's a horseshoe on the right side of her bottom. You see, I'd never have noticed that unless somebody had said there's a horseshoe on the right side of her bottom. But there is most certainly. Looks like a horseshoe brand. Fascinating. I suppose there are ways and means of identifying these creatures. Some people I know are able to just look at them in the eyes and say, well, that's obviously whoever it is. I am absolutely hopeless at that. Look at that glorious scene. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, there we go. Sorry, Kirsten managed to read your question wrong, Gabby. She said, would a hyena die if a hyena ate what hyenas ate? And that's why I was completely silent. But apparently you were asking, would a human die if it ate what a hyena ate? I think that if a human being tried to eat that rotting wildebeest she had a go at, I think you probably could die, yes. You probably could give yourself sufficient blood poisoning to die. But I am not a medical scientist, so I couldn't say for sure. Let's go a little bit forward. I don't think a hyena would die if a hyena ate what a hyena eats. She's moving now. The scones and tea time is over. Away from the, I'm not sure we won't say traumas, from the trials of motherhood, if you like. She's chosen a relatively nice, smooth place to walk through, which is great for us. Just interested in why suddenly she moved off and where on earth the rest of them are. Alright, we're going to keep following her. I'm not going to lose her. Well, I'm going to try not to lose her. Let's go back to Siddhas and Hosana.
So you can see that now Hosana has just gone to his little cave. This is his normal little cave. He has been here on several occasions. I've seen him, and it's quite very difficult to see him from the road. So, but today I think the stomach is too big. I don't know if he's going to be able to fit in there, because normally he goes there, sleep and lean against the wall. So the Francolins were just giving him some tough time during my arrival here. So you can see that now he's showing some signs of sleeping. He might be sleeping anytime soon. So you can see the breathing rate, that after consuming quite a lot of water, the stomach in there doesn't have too much space. But if any animal come forward, you will see he's going to forget that he's just been to the water hole and the stomach is full. He will attempt to take it down. That is normal. So the sun is very much hot at the moment. This sky is open and it's very much difficult for these animals to attack us. Why? Because of the following reasons. When these kind of predators sees me in this car, they see me and the car as one object. But if I move my hands rapidly like this, is when he is going to start looking at me and start investigating. So these animals normally, if I don't get off the car and if I don't sit by the dashboard or sit by the seat on top, is when he's going to be very much calm and he won't do anything. But if I can now jump off the car, you will see he's just going to get off and run away, because these animals, they still have got a human natural fear. If they are cornered, they can be dangerous. If you look there by that little cave where he is, if I can just walk him and surprise him, I think it might be difficult for him to jump up. Instead of going up, he might come towards me. So these kind of animals, they don't want to be cornered. So you can see those dangerous canines which can grow and get up to 8 millimeters. So those are the very strong weapons for these animals to catch their prey. One bite on the neck, they can take a prey down. But if it's a small prey, they will just, if it's a small prey like a bird, one paw, they're just going to kill it. The claws by these legs, they are so powerful. So you can see the mouth is open at all times because he's trying to inhale quite a lot of air. Now is the time. You can see now that he is feeding by his little cave. So now let's cross over to Jamie, who is on the move trying to find something very interesting for you this afternoon.
I'm trying to find anything for you this afternoon. I'm hoping to find Tingana for Brent, but I really haven't had any luck at all. I'm just going to see if this bird stays still. No, it's not going to stay still. Maybe it is. Hold on. Might have to settle for a bird. It's a kingfisher, but it's gone. Have you got one? Oh, now it flew. Sens has really got it. You got it? What are those, Sens? Did I go too far back? Okay, hold on, everyone. There it is. There it is. I can see it now. There. Oh, too far. Back a bit. Okay. There. Looks like brown-crowned. Brown-headed kingfisher. Not brown-crowned. Too many crowns and heads and wood. What are they called? Kingfisher. Goodness, I've got word mix-up today. I can't, just ignore everything I say, because clearly I have no idea what I'm talking about. I've been watching Boston Legal recently. It's called word salad. I've got word salad. I can't seem to say the words that I'm intending to say. That is a kingfisher. We are eagerly awaiting the return of the woodland kingfisher. There we go. Imagine if we all presented like that. What a disaster that would be. Okay, well, that was a nice little surprise. I was hoping it might be a striped, but it doesn't look like it. We're also looking... Okay, well, that was enthralling. Well spotted, Senzo. He did an amazing job of showing you that bird, considering I couldn't even see it. Let's go across to Brent, who has also found a bird for you.
Oh, we have a beautiful tawny eagle in golden light. At least the birds are going my way today, because nothing else is. Oh, off it goes. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, the reason I'm quite interested here, and maybe the tawny eagle is going to change my luck, is because there were actually two tawnies and a battalier. So there might be something here. It could, however, be one of these Inyala or Kudu that have expired from the dry. Interesting. You see that? Oh, no. Where's it gone now? He's taken off. The second tawny was on that. He's gone now. This might be worth I'm just trying to listen to see if I can hear anything. If there's any squirrels alarm calling around. There might, of course, just been some confusion. Paula would like to know, do we get falcons on Djuma? We do. Not very often. What falcons have I seen on Djuma? I've seen a peregrine falcon, and I've seen a Eurasian hobby falcon, and of course we do get the eastern red-footed, which is now called an Amma falcon, and the western red-footed falcon. And those will generally come once the rains have arrived, because they are mainly insectivores, those two last falcon species. There's a possibility we might have some other transient falcons that appear every now and then, but not resident. Hello, Battledeer. Juvenile Battledeer, of course. It takes them about 8 years to reach their adult plumage. And I'm going to just sit here for a little bit and hopefully a leopard pops its head up. That's why all these raptors are here. But in the meantime, we're going to send you all the way back to the Maasai Mara, where unlike South Africa, where we're sitting in bright sun, the sun is setting.
Beautiful. We are still with our hyena, but Bungay just created a magnificent picture from the rapidly changing sunset. It is very, very pretty indeed. Magical. Magical stuff, everybody. Magical. No, don't come to me, Bungay. I'm taking an illegal photograph. One more illegal photograph, then you can come to me. Okay. Go. Oh no, the sun's coming out. You can't. Never mind. Okay. There, the hyena is moving up ahead in front of us. Very nice. Going sort of towards the den, but not entirely. I wonder if we're not going to be able to... You watching? You've zoomed in. Yes, I see that. Okay. Let's see if we can't silhouette that elephant against the sunset. That would be quite pretty. Very pretty. Uber pretty. Gosh, that's the first bit of nice light we've had all afternoon. It's been very cloudy until now. We'll just see if we can't get this elephant with the sun behind it. As our hyena hero of the day heads back towards her den. And an elephant, in fact. We might get her and the elephant as well. No, they're moving a little fast. Junior, no, adult hyenas don't go into dens normally. We have seen this hyena, in fact, go into a den, though. And so even if she was unsafe, she'd normally just leave. You know, they're fast enough to just run away. Sorry, the reason I didn't get the elephant silhouetted was that he's trying to make his way back to his herd. I didn't want to get him between him and the herd. Oh, look at that for a picture. Isn't it gorgeous? Stunning. Nature just sent out a spotlight. Fantastic. Going to take another illegal photograph. Don't care what anyone says. Too pretty. Why is it not working? The camera is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Magic. No, my camera's definitely doing something very odd. Oh, I've changed the setting, that's why. I put it onto automatic. I'm sure you're all fascinated by that. It says invalid lens. That's definitely not true. Our hyena's sort of circling back to the den. We will intercept her shortly. Yes, April, it's completely illegal to take photographs. You'll probably find very shortly a helicopter will arrive and take me away. No, what it is we made it semi-illegal to take photographs while we were live, because that was in the days when we only had cameras that go king, 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 and they make that horrible kind of lens snapping shutter sound. And that's why we made it illegal to take photographs while live. But the odd one you can take, and my one doesn't have a noisy shutter. You can put it on a silent shutter, and so, well, half the time you don't even know that I'm doing it. I'm afraid I missed that, Kirsten. What was that? Yes, we started off doing the sneeze or the cough, so you would go and so if you hear Brent Leo Smith coughing, it's not because he's got consumption. Now, our hyena was circling around this way. I don't see her anymore. You got her? Bunge's got her. Yeah, she's going straight back towards the den. I'm going to go in this way because I don't want to get between the sun and the BBC film crew. I think they'll take a dim view of that. Get out of the way! We're trying to take a picture for our next documentary. I'm sure they don't speak like that, but they might. I say, if you move, you're between us and the sun. We're trying to get a silhouette of this hyena. We've been here all day. Oh, there's a hole. Hold on, everyone. Sorry about that. I'm really hoping they don't have infrared and that they have to go away soon. We're now going to bump into the Michigan State University hyena researchers. I've never met them before. I'm most certainly going to have to say hello to them. So maybe we should link away, I'm just saying. You don't have to. You meet them too if you want. Oh, good idea. Let's go to their best friend in the world, Jamie Patterson.
Aw, I miss them. We had so much fun with our hyena researchers, especially when they raided our storeroom full of food. Please tell James to say hello. I have absolutely nothing to report. I have more impala if you're really, keen on seeing an impala. There we go. Look at that. Marvelous, that is. James says apparently the researchers say that they miss me so much. I miss them too. Even if they did offer to give James Hedry lessons on hyena behavior. What's the second one's name? Oh, I'm so thrilled that one's a Lovo. One of Waffles' cubs is apparently called a Lovo. Was the other one cursed? Rema. I must ask them about that. I'll ask them about that. Rema. So at least one became a Lovo. There you go, Sens. Our South African impact, our South African stamp on the Maasai Mara. One of Waffles' cubs is named after Ilovo syrup. Marvelous. Well, this is quite pretty. The grass looks gold. The impala look healthy. because you can't see the details on them. And very, very, very pregnant. I can't wait till the little lambs start coming out. Last time I did a close-up view of an impala around about this time of year, you could actually see the baby start to kick. Obviously they don't kick all the time, but you could see movement in her stomach. I don't think the light's right for that though. I always feel as though the females are now walking around with their tails so tucked under their bottoms that it looks as though they're trying to hold the babies in. That's just how impala have their tails, but when they're that pregnant, that's what it looks like. Looks like they're trying to keep anything from popping out too soon. Shame. All that weight on those spindly legs, especially after this dry season. Oh no, what is it with me and animals at the moment? Okay, he's at least cleaning the inside of his thigh. Impala are meticulous groomers, of course. They keep themselves very clean. That's why they always look so shiny and beautiful. They constantly comb through their fur. Not with a comb with their teeth, but they do comb their fur. Oh, shame. Bony, bony. Even this beautiful golden light can't hide the hip bone sticking out. Shame, Impala. It's coming. Don't you worry, it's going green. Paula, twins are a possibility with Impala, but incredibly rare. So it's possible, but very unlikely. So I just said the same thing twice in different ways. Basically, by using different words, that's what's known as killing time. There's not very much space inside a female impala. Also, remember that once those impala lambs are born, they have to be able to keep up with the rest of the herd, with the mothers. Otherwise, they become instant cat food, or hyena food, or jackal food, or bird food. So they're born with extraordinarily long legs. And that means that it's all sort of folded up inside mum. There's not very much room. So impala lambs generally aren't born, it's not two born at one time. It's not very good for the mother. So that gene, the twin gene, isn't really selected for in the wild, because a lot of the time those twins don't survive. They're just born a little bit too small. And especially in dry season like this, chances are that a mother supporting two fetuses as opposed to one is going to really, really struggle. So no, twins are not common. It is possible though. Born in a jumble of legs and... oh, cute. Can't wait. Can't wait. Watch them take those wobbly first steps. That's my goal for the... Actually, I'm going on leave on Wednesday. I was going to say by the end of this work cycle, I want to get a live impala birth. I think that might be a bit optimistic. Let's go with by the end of the year. How about that? We'll go with that. Onwards, she cried. Let's go see what's happening at the Hyena Den. Francis, it actually happens quite a lot. Francis wants to know if it's possible that pregnant animals have passed away during birth. It is possible. It does happen. Probably the most common animal that it happens to is hyenas. Most of the time, their first-time mothers will either lose their first litter or at least the first cub, just due to the extremely strenuous birthing process involved with their unique genital structure. The only other animal that has as much of a difficult time as hyenas is humans, because of the way that our pelvis is shaped in order to allow us to walk upright. I've actually spoken about this quite a lot recently. It's amazing how topics go through stages. But it is a very difficult process for hyenas. Most other animals, it's slightly easier. The way that they're structured on four legs means that it goes quite quickly, quite easily. But animals do die. A lot of the nyala that we've seen haven't necessarily died giving birth, but they've died in the late stages of pregnancy because there's just that much more pressure on their bodies, trying to support themselves and their fetuses, and it's really very strenuous. The same goes for stillborns. There'll be a few stillborns. So absolutely, it can happen. Less common in the wild than it is in, say, certain species of cow or breeds of cow or horses, things that have been bred by humans to change their physical structure. in a way that actually does, in the end, create a fetus that's a lot bigger than mom should be able to handle or is able to handle. In the wild, the birthing process comes quite naturally because, well, these genetics are the ones that have been selected for so long. Little boys, I need to go to the den and see what's happening. I can't stand the suspense anymore. I need to know if we're in for a week like last week, where we said hello, and that was that. Or at least Senzo managed to spot 2 hyenas that we can go to kill time if they're not at the den. Bravo, Senz. Saved the day. Twins in all animals are quite rare. In terms of... Wait, let me rephrase that. Now I've dug myself into a hole. I'm trying to say that twins are rare, but that's actually nonsense because leopards will have twins, or they're not twins, but they'll have 2 babies or 3 babies. Lions will have 2 babies, 3 babies. In animals that are designed to have 1 baby, 2 babies are unusual. That's sort of what I was trying to say. So like elephants. An elephant, a twin elephant birth is possible, but exceptionally rare. It's such a large baby. Same goes for giraffe. Now, at one stage, twins were thought to be a great deal more common than they actually are, because people were not realizing, because the mothers are so tall, they actually moved very far away from their youngsters. So they'd see 1 mother and 2 calves and immediately assume that those were twins. So for a long time, giraffe twins were thought to be more common than they really are. Another animal where it's got to be born with the longest legs imaginable so that the poor thing can actually keep up with mum. Mum's legs are 2 meters long. She takes big steps. Zebra, again, another example. Born with phenomenally long, disproportionately long legs. I remember watching James's zebra birth, when he filmed the zebra birth just here, with Dave, I think it was. It was an amazing scene, and marveling at the sheer size of that foal. There's Dave on camera and James just down the road here. So animals that have 1 baby generally only have 1 baby. That was really profound. Don't know what I'm trying to say. Don't know if I've ever heard of hippo twins. I guess similar to elephants, it's probably possible, but unlikely. Okay, I'm gonna go see if I can charm the hyenas out of the den. Let's go see if Brent's charm has won him any animals.
Sweet blow all is the answer. I just heard some alarming squirrels. An impala's looking in that direction. And there's, of course, outside of our traverse, but it's worth a look. Of course, the squirrels are now silent. Wind is quite strong though. Wonder if the squirrels were just having a little argument. Who knows? It's quite deep inside Hofmann's. Where did Impala go? Impala looks very relaxed, so carry on. I'm basically doing a boundary patrol, staring at the sand, wishing for a leopard track to cross in. I do not hold out much confidence, to be honest. I've got an update from where Hukumuri is, where Shadulu last was, where Tiani is. The only missing cat is Tingana. Last tracks were south, but no one's seen him for a while, for a couple of days, either in the north or the south. So who knows, maybe old Tinganana will show up. But yeah, Hukumuri is far from here. Other option, if we get no luck here, is to maybe check the eastern sides of Chitwa for Kuchava. And I think with Tandi and Sibui having boxes there, our odds are not good. I think she's moved further to the east into sort of around Cheetah Plains Camp, Juma Dam on Cheetah Plains, that area, which we used to see her in occasionally, but I think with Sibui moving in even more, she's going to push that way. But this is what we are doing now. We are sitting with our legs out, looking for tracks, staring at the sand, hoping for a little bit of luck. Tandy and Columba are in Torchwood, so no luck there either. Jamie had their tracks crossing Cheetah Cutline this morning, so they are more than likely, the fact that there's both Columba and Tandy's tracks there, she's obviously more than likely got a kill somewhere in Torchwood. And unfortunately, we are unable to traverse in Torchwood at the moment because the Nkahumas, seems like they killed a baby hippo. Not too far to the east of Cheetah Cutline. It was then stolen by an avoca, and there's an avoca male there with one of the young mungens feeding, and the rest of the pride lying not too far away. Oh dear, we have a Speedy Gonzalez pushing us off the road, driving over tracks, no doubt, if there are any. Yes, off you go, Eastgate. Hello, hello. Oh, Fixin, Minjan! I actually know him. I used to work with him at Londolozi. It's Fixin. James also knows him. Ah, nice to see old Fix. One of the best smiles on any human being I've ever met in my life. There's one way to brighten a day. Just see Fixin and that big toothy grin of his. Now, as I said, someone else who might remember Fixin from Londolozi is James Henry. So let's go all the way back to the Mara and the North Clan and see if any of them have a wider smile as Fixin does.
Vixen or Strixen? No, not ringing a bell. We're back at this little den site. Now, I'll tell you, the film crew is still here. I think they're looking at Waffles' cubs. No, don't remember Vixen. Now, just in case you're wondering why it is that we are looking at white bushes, it is unfortunately the only thing the camera is able to do. It's very clever in many ways and a bit stupid in others, and in this particular way it can only focus, or it can only expose for whatever is closest to the camera. So because she's behind the bushes there, camera can only expose for the bushes in front. That's why she looks dark, and it looks like we're looking at white bushes. So we are now in infrared and hoping that she's going to bring the youngster out. George, no, hyenas are not related to dogs any more than you are related to a baboon, which is quite interesting. So that we're all part of the same order. They are part of the order Carnivora, like you and I and baboons are part of the order Primates. But they are an entirely separate family from dogs and cats, and they are most closely related to the mongoose. They belong to their own family called the Hyena Den, and that is most closely related to the Herpestidae, which are the mongoose. This is a very suspicious hyena. She's been very suspicious for some time. She keeps looking around. It was so nice to go foraging with her today. It was so wonderful to spend some time just following a hyena through the bush without it having to disappear or run away, because of course it's so open here. Jane, very clearly, no, not all hyenas live at a den. A lot of the activity of a clan will centre on a den, but they don't all live at a den, no. The mothers that have youngsters will come to the central den often. If they're very subordinate, they might go and have a den somewhere else. And the North Clan has lots of dens around this area. This just happens to be the one that is the most active at the moment, and we still think that Waffles' cubs are still here, and therefore that Waffles is still denning here, and therefore that most of the cubs that we've seen over the last few days are still here, as opposed to having been moved off to another den site. So this is Anna, who we've been watching the whole time, Anatolia. It's quite a nice name, that, isn't it? It's better than some of the others that these poor hyenas have been saddled with. Waffles, for one. I don't know, Paula, when they get their names. I was about to ask our researchers before we went live, but I don't actually know. I think it's probably once they're about 5 or 6 months old, I'm guessing. It might, no, it's probably before that, because Lobster and Chow had their names before they were that old. I'm not sure. I suspect probably actually as soon as they are playing around outside the den. Just listening all the time. You won't find Corky doing this kind of thing up at Djuma. Yes, you will look around a bit, but not like this. There were 2 male lions here early this morning. There have been elephants all over the place. So perhaps they're all feeling a little bit uneasy. And as I said, if lions or elephants do come over a place like this and get upset with the hyenas, the adults will just vacate. They'll abandon the area until it's safe to come back. And sometimes if a den is pressured sufficiently, they'll abandon it completely and the cubs will be left to starve. I don't think that's what's happened here. There is at least one adult here, and certainly Waffles was here earlier today. But Anatolia is not a restful hyena. Exactly, largely because we're out at the wrong time. They hunt pretty much exclusively at night, I think, or early morning. If you ask Jamie that question, she'd say that she had most of the hunting action between about 7 o'clock in the evening, 12 o'clock at night. And then they had that one really amazing hippopotamus hunt, but that was kind of unusual, and that was at dawn. You know, it was almost an exceptional situation. So I think the reason we don't see them hunting is that we don't follow them late at night. While we do have pretty good equipment to look at stuff at night, it's not ideal for hunting, because as we have said to you before, you've got to get pretty close to make it work, and obviously being too close during a hunt is likely to ruin that hunt. But we have got some pretty amazing stuff of the hyenas hunting. They hunted that buffalo baby in the day. Brent's got that one. That was the Happy Zebra Clan. So they do hunt in the day. But Manu was telling me their general rhythm was to hang around till about 7:30 at night and then go off foraging, which is really what I don't want them to do tonight. I want her to stay here and bring her baby out so that we can see her for our TV show, which starts in about 40 minutes. Right, apparently Pajamas has got some kind of surprise for us.
Surprise! It's a disappearing warthog bottom. I bet that's exactly what you were expecting when we mentioned the word surprise. Trotting off into the west, into the setting sun. Almost needed a sort of western theme tune, but unfortunately it was gone. I'll tell you what. No, never mind. I was going to say let's sit quietly and watch the sunset, but actually there's not much to hear except for the wind. And the fan gently cooling our broadcast equipment. And in the distance, a red-crested korhaan. And my sudden realization that I've had my game drive radio turned down for at least half an hour. No wonder I felt so peaceful. It's actually very pretty. Isn't that lovely? That silver cluster leaf is just sort of the right shape for a silhouette shot. Nice colors today. And clouds that look like they've sort of flowed through the sky. Oh, okay. Lou doesn't like the clouds. Okay, then off we go. Moving on. Lou doesn't like the clouds. Can't have that. Let's go find something else. What can I do? I give you sunsets, don't like those. I give you clouds, don't like those. Ah, fussy, fussy. Actually, I kind of get Lou. It's a bit of a weird cloud. And for a week that is meant to be boiling hot, there's a very chilly wind. I mean, if it brings more rain, that's great. If it just brings cloud and cold weather, yeah, Lou's on the same page as I am. That's why Lou doesn't like them either. If it just brings cloud and cold weather, well then what's the point? Just bring rain. I went to the den, by the way. No one's home. It's okay, we've still got an hour or so. No, we don't. We have half an hour. 40 minutes. We'll see. We gambled on them last week, didn't pay off. We'll try again, we'll gamble on them this week. I'm nothing without my hyena story. I don't even have Brent's charm. Kirsten says agreed. Yeah, because he was very charming. Yeah. I've run out of words. I ate 3 cupcakes just before the start of drive, and I know I shouldn't have had 3 cupcakes. It was definitely an excessive amount of cupcake. And now I think I've just hit a sugar low, and I think that's why my brain's scrambling words. It wasn't my most sensible dietary choice. This is why, you know, you get to the... Oh, thank you to everyone saying I have a lot of charm. I don't think so, especially not on a sugar low. You know, you come to that realization as an adult that you can buy your own food, and if you want to, you can eat 3 cupcakes in one sitting. And then you get to the point where you realize why you weren't allowed to as a child. Oh, I thought I found a drag mark. I didn't find a drag mark. I found a mark of an elephant moving a stick across the road. I'll show you what I mean. I got so excited for 1 second. I thought perhaps we'd found the mystery of the disappearing Tingana. But I haven't. All I can see is elephant tracks, and then, yeah. No, that is not a drag mark. One big fundamental difference that is pretty unentertaining is that a drag mark generally looks a bit flatter and wider. Right, speaking of an animal that might leave a drag mark after hunting, let's go across to Sydney and Hosanna.
Hosanna is now starting to become active, and I cannot see what he's thinking about to do at the moment, as there is no prey animals here where we are. Nothing is exciting him. He might wake up and go to somewhere else. Look at that. I've just said it now that he is now about to take an action. So let's hope he's not going to get disappeared deep in the thick bushes. We still want to be with him. Maybe he's just now trying to come up out to the open space. But looking at what he's doing now, when the head is raised by the air and the wind direction is coming from that side, he might be fascinated by something he's getting from the air particles. So I am not going to leave him. I'm going to follow him until I see what he's thinking. He's now again heading towards the water hole. Maybe he's going to drink again, or he might be going to investigate for something. He has been eating for the couple of days, but that is not going to stop him from hunting. One of my guests, Arbiad, he's giving a very good comment on Hosanna. He met Hosanna live before. So this cat is going back to the water hole now, and after drinking, he might look bigger again. So I'm just going to again drive back to the water hole and enjoy seeing him drinking. It's always lovely to see these kind of cats drinking. But last time he was here, I can see it's not even an hour, a few minutes ago he was here and he had a lot of water. Now he's back again. You can see that for the past 2 days indeed, he did not have any moisture. So the carcass were already old, which is something maybe which made him to come and drink quite a lot of water like now. So he is quenching his thirst at the moment. So don't get surprised here when hearing the engines and the camera clicking. I am not alone at the moment at the sighting. There are some other guests as well enjoying the same sighting as me. So these animals, mostly when they're demarcating territories, they also consider water availability and food availability. But this one is not yet responsible of any of the territories in the area. I have seen him demarcating the territory, but I don't know if he knows very well the interpretation of marking the territory, because sometimes he does leave his scent on top of his father's scent, but the father is not worried at the moment about those kind of marking on top of his scent marks. So you can see that the tank doesn't really collect quite a lot of water. So now let's cross over to the Maasai Mara in Kenya, where James is having one of those animals who are sometimes giving Hosanna a tough time.
Okay, now I know that's a very dark picture of the hyena. She suddenly ran off, so we tried to go off back towards Waffles' den. Didn't see anything there, and she came back here. We're in pretty much the same position we was when you last saw us. And so I don't really want to go too much closer because she has been a little bit kind of up and downish. So let's give her some space. Now I know that's not great, Bungay. Sorry about that. Just going to scan with the spotlight, see if there's anything else. There is nothing further. I know it's a very dark image, don't worry about it. There's not much we can do. We'll improve it, I hope, by the time our TV show comes about, 7:30. At least you can see the reflection of the eyes. She's so up and down and so kind of uncomfortable. Yeah, Gina, these infrared eyes make beautiful kind of cartoon terror eyes, if you like. Infrared is great like that. You can see those eyes shining. Now, I really hope that the other adults are going to pop back here at some stage this evening. Now remember, we do have our TV show, so we are going to shut down in half an hour. You can actually catch it on YouTube if you want to. And then tomorrow, of course, returns, no, pretty much to normal, but tomorrow night is Safari Live's episode, must be 25 or 24. Alright, well, we're going to wait and see what happens here. I hope something exciting happens in the next little while. In the meantime, I'm going to say goodbye to you. I'm going to thank you very much for contributing to the show with your questions and your comments, and I will see you tomorrow morning, if not on the TV.